Hi everyone, my name is Jason from Shisha in the UK and the Sampling Room. Today I'm bringing you a segment of a little bit of both, the Sampling Room and Shisha in the UK. This is the promised video that I've been trying to do for a while and I haven't just got off my arse to do it, but I'm going to be doing it now. It is how to make your own tobacco at home, and it's throughout the entire spectrum. I'm going to basically tell you how to and show you how to make your own shisha tobacco, your own pipe tobacco, plug tobacco, flake tobacco, rolling tobacco, and all your other bits and bobs as well. Right, what I'm going to start with is basically what you can do is you can grow your own tobacco at home, but as of 2013, which is obviously 3 years ago, the government put in an act that you should pay your own duty on what you grow. So make sure you do that. Anyway, what you can do is you can buy seeds online if you want to grow your own tobacco, or you at some point in the year, it tends to be about March, April time, you can buy your own little saplings or seedlings. It's basically like little mini plants in a wad of soil. All you do is you plant those into a nutrient-rich soil, i.e. compost. I preferably use tomato, the stuff you use for tomatoes. You can buy it in home base or whatever, make sure it's a decent one, and just grow it from there. I mean, initially you can grow it indoors. I did this year. Well, no, I didn't this year. I did it in pre-2013. I did do it in pre-2013. And I then moved it to outside for a while because it was actually quite hot that year. I moved it to outside for a while. I mean, you can grow it solely indoors, or I mean, the best place if you've got a greenhouse, then it's pretty much stable temperatures. You know, I mean, you plant just after the first frost. We don't plant. You can move it, start moving them outside after the first frost, and you can do quite well. If not, just do them, you know, either inside by patio doors in the conservatory or in a greenhouse all year round, and you're pretty golden. Just make sure you keep repotting all the time. I'll insert a picture here of that is what the plants look like when they're saplings or seedlings, when they're first potted, and you just go from there really. Right, what you end up with, I mean, you can get all different types. You can get burley seeds, you can get Virginia seeds, you can get other type of seeds. You can't really grow Orientals and stuff like that around here unless you get the correct soil. Orientals and Turkishish and things like that, you need nutrient sparse soil really, or a rocky soil, which kind of makes them a very slow growing tobacco and things like that. I mean, Perique, don't even bother with that because it takes a long time and a lot of knowledge to be able to do that. Cigar tobacco, now you can do that. Obviously you do have to have a very, very decent soil and very well kept, but I have grown my own cigar tobacco. This has been aging for about 4 years, and no, I don't know how old this one is, but that is what I've got there. What you got to do, make sure you age it. You've got to age it. You pick it just after, just before it starts going too yellow. Obviously, when it's yellowing, then that is when you pick it. So the leaves will be anywhere between this big and this big if you've repotted. If you just left them in the small pot, I mean, crikey, one year I couldn't be bothered to repot, which you should do, and the leaves are only that big. But I mean, it does it. I mean, it's a good little bit of laugh, and you get quite a bit of satisfaction out of it anyway. So make sure you pay the duty. So I mean, this is a cigar leaf. This is a Cuban cigar leaf. I think it's only been aged for a few years, but make sure you keep it moist when you do age it. So you dry it, and as soon as it's dried, bag it or whatever, and keep it moist when you're aging it. Or if you're not going to bag it, make sure you mist it every now and then with some distilled water. That's what that looks like. This is my Virginia. This has been aging for about 4 or 5 years. I have to admit, there are parts of this is my first year I did it, so I dried it too quick. Your best place to dry it is not in the sun or anything like that. Put it in like an airing cupboard, a cool airing cupboard, not a really hot airing cupboard. I mean, you got green bits like that. If it's green like that, it means it's dried too quickly, really. I mean, the darker stuff around here, you can tell, is dried well. It's been aging for a long time, this, and people have smoked this pretty straight. Oh, that, even though it's pure Virginia in here, there's no cigar leaf whatsoever, it smells like a well-aged cigar. Crikey, that smells nice already. I haven't actually tried it. Some of my friends have tried it. and they said it's absolutely lovely. They say it's well, it's very, 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 very smooth, and they didn't use a filter, they just did it in a little rolly thing. This is a Cuban cigar leaf, not leaf, but a Cuban cigar seed. That's been done quite well. There's a couple of faults here. Are there any faults? Yeah, just here. I mean, that's a bit too green, but I mean, that's all got quite a few years of age on that. And what I've done is I've stuck it in one of these, and every now and then I just check these. I put one of these little Humi packs in. I check it, make sure it's moist enough. I mean, it should be supple but not cracky. So that's all right, that is. And make sure that isn't dry. And you're pretty good to do that, really. So anyway, that's how to grow it and how to age it. Now, what else have we got here? Right, and to actually go on to the next step, what you can do is, what I actually do is I'll start with the cigarette stuff. Now what you do with these, shred it. You can, I mean, a cigarette, come rolling tobacco, yeah, a typical cigarette is basically shit. It is no more than, I would say, 50% actual tobacco, and the rest of it's paper, additives, or anything like that. Rolling tobacco, I mean, that is the better quality stuff normally. What you can do, you can just either get this type of thing, the whole leaves, you can shred it by a knife. If you want, you can chop it up, you can grind it up in a mortar and pestle. Don't do it too fine, obviously. Or, I mean, you can use a pasta shredder, put it in through that, a mincer, or anything you really want to, really. Or, I mean, if you've got a little mini desk shredder, you know, you can get like a USB style shredder for small bits of paper, straight through that, and that'll be fine. Obviously, make sure you do it fine enough. Put it through a few times, make sure it's nice and fine, because you're going to want it fine if it's for rolly stuff. You may want to keep it nice and moist, because obviously you want it to be supple, you don't want it to be cracking as you're rolling it. Just do that, really. And if you want to put any toppings on or flavourings, make sure that they're food grade. They've got to be food grade, nothing else than that, and use it extremely sparingly, because those extracts and food grade additives are very, very, very potent, so make sure you do that. Now, that's your cigarette come rolling tobacco. For your shisha tobacco, what you've got to do, make sure you don't use anything other than the Virginia stuff, Virginia or Burley. Burley will be a bit stronger. It won't be as sweet, so I would suggest using Virginia, because you can't go wrong. The same with your, your rolling tobacco. Your rolling tobacco, make sure you either you can use Burley, because that is mostly cigarette stuff, or your Virginia, it's up to you. Don't forget that Burley is the high nicotine but less sweet. So obviously it's the other way around with Virginia. But yeah, mainly use Virginias for shisha, really. And what you want to do is you want to wash it. What's called washing, which will basically take all the nicotine and tar out of it. Make sure it's, you do it enough, because that will get rid of the tar completely, and it tends to reduce the nicotine to 0.5 between that, or to 0.05% nicotine. And to wash it, what you want to do is you want to get a nice big pan to put it all in. Put some hot, you want it below boiling. You don't want it to boil it, but you want it below boiling point, and simmer it for a while. Obviously, just experiment with it, but you'll see it all come out, all the crap come out, all the tar and stuff like that come out into the water. And you want to very, very gently, because you want to make sure the leaves are tough enough to do this. Get some tongs and lift it out, and you'll see the colour draining out of it. You want to get as much out of it as possible. Do that from anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. Not an hour, that's a bit too much. So about 15 to 40 minutes. That I found works pretty well. And just pick them out by hand. Pick all that. Don't do the draining thing as you would do a load of peas and stuff like that, or carrots as you would do when you're cooking. Don't do that. Pull them out. Pull the leaves out by hand with some tongs. Put them on a bit of paper, a bit of tissue paper. Dab it dry. You can put it in a salad spinner. Just careful when you do that, because you don't want to be too vigorous. You don't want to rip the leaves apart, and just leave them to dry, but not dry, but dry to the most part. Just when it's moist to the touch, not too wet though. You don't want to be able to wring it and still get water out. Do that. Add a load of molasses or honey if you want to do honey, but I'd say molasses is your best bet. You can get food grade molasses in the shops. Just get some of that, in your local supermarket, and add some flavourings, and then you're away. Obviously, don't do it till it's really goopy, just reasonably goopy. You know, just compare it to some Shisha Tobacco. Yeah, I mean, you can see how goopy that type of thing is. That will get you a nice, decent, if it's got focus there, a nice, decent, smooth smoke. That type of goopy. I possibly might want to water it down with a touch of distilled water as well. That'd be more pliable, and then you're away. Now, what I will talk about, I'll talk about basically your cigars. If you want to do cigar leaf, that's fine. It's really, really, really hard. This has got to be the hardest one, because your cigars, you've got to age it perfectly. Okay, you've got to keep the leaves flat. Do not compact them at all. Keep the leaves flat at all times, and you want to pick them when you're actually harvesting the cigar tobacco. You want to start with the bottom. Okay, just harvest the bottom ring first, and then just work your way up. Say within, just short of a week increments is probably your best bet. I mean, you're not going to be able to do it professionally like they do in obviously the fields. This is a bit of home advice. Okay, this isn't obviously professional advice. So start with the bottom and leave the top leaf to last, because you want that to be on there the longest. And I'd say age that separately from the rest of it, obviously, because you should do it in 3 increments. You do the bottom, which are the biggest leaves. They're the thickest leaves. Well, they're not necessarily the thickest, but they're the fullest leaves, and what's called the filler, which will go on the inside of the cigar. The middle, which we'll call the binder, the middle of the plant, which is called the binder. That is obviously another lot, and the top, which is the ligero. I know I'm going to say it wrong. I think it's not ligero. I cannot remember the Spanish word for it. Sorry, I did have it all written down. Can't find it for a toffee now. Basically, that's the wrapper on top. That is the highest quality leaf, and I mean that's the really top of the plant. You want to definitely age that separately. That should be the supreme quality, which you put on the outside, which has got about 18 to 90% of the flavour of the cigar. I'm not going to tell you how to roll the cigar. Basically, filler, scrunch it up, bind around that, then the wrapper, which you do very, very carefully. Just watch them on YouTube. I won't even attempt that, because there's a definite art to it, and it takes a lifetime to master that. I'm not even going to attempt. I might even try to roll my own at some point, but I'm not going to do filler binder, wrapper. Not going to bother with that. I might just do one whole lot and then with a wrapper around it, if I'm bothered. What I tend to harvest my cigar stuff for is to do a blend of pipe tobacco, which I do a bit of Virginia, a bit of cigar leaf or burley, and basically do my own little blend like that. Right, now I've waffled on about cigars. Get onto the pipe tobacco. Now, there are multiple ways of doing this. It's the same, I mean, if you want to do your Shisha tobacco, you can go buy it from a shop, buy some Virginia from a shop and wash that. That's fine, it's up to you. But you can do this with your pipe tobacco, with your homegrown tobacco. Get a various mix, chop it up as you would do pretty much your your rolling tobacco, slightly thicker than that. So, as you would see, that type of consistency. So it's not, so that's actually a bit shag cut. So that is what your rolling tobacco, focus on this, you bloody camera. That is what your, pretty much your rolling tobacco should look like. That is quite a shag cut, that. If I've got any here. Oh, I do. That should be your average cut. That's called a ribbon cut, that, for your pipe tobacco. That is what you're going to be aiming for, really, for your typical pipe tobacco cut. Shred it up to that. Do your own blend. You can do a pure Virginia blend, pure burley blend. Don't really bother do a pure cigar blend or anything like that. You can buy all different things from the shops. You can buy own blending tobaccos. Typically, in the UK anyway, you can buy them from Gorwith and Hogarth. Well, company of Gorwith and Hogarth, or Samuel Gorwith. I mean, various different people, really. mysmokingshop.co.uk do with it. Black Swan Shop do it. I think Cigars Limited.co.uk do it. My primary place to buy it used to be gqtobaccos.com, but unfortunately they shut down. It's just now GQ Pipes, I think it is. Or they do some tobaccos, but only their lasting stock, so they don't really do blending stuff anymore. But definitely give this a go. Now what I do is, if you've got any pipe tobacco left over that you don't like, or you're not overly fond with, I wouldn't recommend doing this with any aromatics, but definitely keep your odds and sods that you're not overly fond with, or if you haven't quite got enough left to do a whole bowl with in a tin, get yourself one of these type of jars, a Kilner jar or a mason jar, or just as I've done here, an old coffee jar. Make sure you give them a good rinse out first though. Make sure you can't smell any residual smells or taste in it. Stick it in the dishwasher if you like. Make sure you take the plastic bit off first. So what I've done here is I've saved it up for a while, and I've made what's called a Franken tobacco blend. Put it all together and just age it, like, well, not necessarily age it, but just keep it like that, and it'll meld. It'll meld together, and that'll be quite nice. And that's just a good way. I mean, it's a different smoke every time. It's a good way of keeping your tobaccos and not wasting them. I mean, if you can't stand it, fair enough, you know, trade it, get rid of it, whatever. But the typical rating system with pipe tobaccos, believe it or not, is out of 4 stars. Now, I tend to say my 2 stars go into here, really. Between 2 and 3 stars, 4 stars I keep completely separate. I won't obviously put that in here. But anything you're not all that bothered about, stick in here. And then just mix it up like that and just keep it. A good way, I mean, if you really want to do a really good blend, get a nice big stainless steel mixing bowl, mix it all by hand. Give it a good mix like that. But a bit of distilled water as well, just only a tiny spray of it, and put it in there and then shut it up for a while, and that'll be a good little bit of a little keepsake, good bit of aging. Also same with what you do is when you do a little clip off the end of a cigar as well, stick that, you know, shred that up, stick that in there as well. That'll be a nice little additive to it too. Don't put too much of that in though, because you don't want to overwhelm it. Now, to do a flake tobacco, you really kind of want to use whole leaves to do this, because then you put the whole leaves together and then you cut it. Or you want to get the, you know, a solid block of tobacco and then kind of cut it into flakes. Now this is hard. Get a guillotine cutter to do it, or maybe a decent sized what are they called, cleaver, you know, a small little cleave like that, kind of like if you've seen in my how to prep a pipe, that type of cleaver, if you've seen it in that video. So you do it like that. I wouldn't recommend doing flakes too much at home because it can be quite complicated. Now, plugs and roll cakes, yes, that is a definite thing you can do at home. Get a cigar box, an old cigar box with clamps, some desk clamps. Put all your blend in. Put some wax paper down first, obviously, or some greaseproof paper. Put that down. A slight spray of distilled water, a very, very small amount, and that you're absolutely golden when you do that. And then leave it for a few weeks. Do leave it for a few weeks, and then obviously the tighter you do it, the more it'll be compacted. Now, and if you want more of a crumble cake, you know, don't do it any more than 2 weeks, I'd say. But I've left mine for 3 before, and it turns into more of a plug, because obviously it's more compacted, and then you can't really crumble it, so you have to kind of cut it. That is what I like, and obviously the flavours meld a lot better when you do that. This is some I've done before. Now, if you don't want to do it like that, you can buy little devices online. This is an antique plug maker. I think this is from the, it says here, the tobacco brand, is it Jane's brand tobacco press. You can barely see it. It's got a little wood bottom on there. What you do, I bought this on eBay. That's an antique. I got it for quite a steal, actually. It's pretty good. You've got a wood base there. You put your tobacco in. The base has probably come out. There we go. Put your tobacco in there. Put your lid on. Make sure you can fit as much as you can and keep pressing it down. You put your lid on here. But this is to do quite a decent sized plug. I mean, this is going to be quite a lot of tobacco, this is. And then you just keep squashing it around like that, and that'll compress it. You leave it in there for a while. I have to admit, I haven't made one with this before, but but these are cheap as chips online, these ones you can get. This is actually the large version. Typically most people use these for pot or marijuana or whatever you want to call it, but I actually make tobacco plugs in these, and these are absolutely excellent. This is stainless, food grade stainless steel, absolutely brilliant. I got this for about 12 quid, 12, 13 quid, whatever it was. Absolutely fantastic. That piece of piss this is, and this is stick resistant. I'll do one when you're here, so I'll do one. That sounds like shit. I'll show you how to do one now. Right, okay, what we've got here, we've got the Franken blend here. We have some boiled / distilled water, which has got a filter in it, so make sure it gets rid of all the chalk and minerals and crap out of it. Now you can put wax paper into these, but these are pretty stick resistant, so they are pretty good. It's quite simple. As you can see, it's got a multitude of different tobaccos in it. Lots and lots of different types. Literally, it's just trial and error. If you're doing it with Franken tobacco, obviously, put various blends in. You can get ratios online of how people have done their own blends. You know, Google it, look it up, that's fine, or experiment with your own. You know, I'd start with a pure Virginia or pure Burley blend, then work your way from there. But I tend to like to use my Franken tobacco because there's always this that you know, you can save from going to waste. So I like to do it like this, to be honest with you. And you get to know, well, you get a new experience every time because you don't know what's going to come through. So literally just put it in like this, as much as you can. I would recommend buying one of these because this is the easiest way to start your own, and you're not doing it on a massive scale. Because if you're going to do it with a cigar box style, you know, you do need a lot of tobacco for that. This, you just need, you know, just need a couple of jars full if you want to do a decent amount of thingy. I mean, this is going to take a lot. This is going to take a lot of tobacco. I'll tell you what. No, actually, I won't weigh it out. But I reckon this will probably be about just under a tin's worth to go into here. A tin? Yeah, I'd say just under a tin's worth. You know, a typical ounce tin, if you're in America. No, just under 2 ounces, I'd say. Or 50 grams, however you want to say it. Because with these, I mean, this much of these tins, of these jars, that is pretty much a tin there. So as you can see, this is how much is going down. Now, this looks like it's gone to the top. Nope. Hard as you can. Push it down there like that. I've pre-moistened this with this, but every now and then, obviously you've got to be so careful when you're doing this, and I might absolutely mess this up because it's on because I'm doing it on camera. There you go. See, like there's one drop, there's another drop. That's all you need. I forgot to record it, but I did pre-moisten that as well. It's always good to put a little bit in here as well. And someone's going to comment how much mess I'm making. Yes, this is actually a small amount of mess to what I'm used to making, so yeah, shut up. Every now and then you might feel it could be a bit dry, so literally you only need a few drops. I bet you can't see me doing that actually, can you? There, 1, 2, bollocks. Get some of that out. You don't want that much water. Get rid of that bit actually. There we go. Well, actually, no, this will be a tin's worth in here. Maybe more, actually. Look how much that's gone down. That was right at the top, that was. there's be quite a bit more in the tin. Now you've got to remember, obviously, when you are making your Franken tobacco, if you know, put Latakia blends in it, you know, if you like Latakia, but Latakia will, especially if it's a heavy one, will overwhelm all the flavours that are in here. That's why I say, that's the same with aromatics as well. I wouldn't recommend putting aromatics unless you're going to do an aromatic only blend, because that will, again, overwhelm all the other flavours in it as well. Right, that is pretty much my whole body weight behind that. So, as you can, well, you might be able to see. Oh, wrong one. There you go. That is basically a thumb's width from the top. That's how much space you want to leave, because you want to be able to fit that in as well. So that's in the top there. Get your lid on, make sure the bottom's screwed on as well. And twist. And do it as hard as you can, as much as you can. Yeah, my wrist's cracking now. Now, if you have used a moist tobacco, you may see some water seeping out here, but as I've been using my Franken blend, I did moisten it slightly, but not enough for water to seep out. But if you have put a moist blend in there, you may want to obviously wax paper. You might even want to put some tissue paper in there. I wouldn't recommend that though, but at least wrap this around some tissue paper just in case water does leak. There we go. That's probably about there-ish now, something like that. Now what will happen is over days it will compact and compact and compact. And occasionally you'll be able to tighten this up. Leave it anywhere between 2 and 3 weeks, I'd say. Well, that's what I do. I mean, other people might have other preferences, but 2 to 3 weeks and you'll get a nice compact plug. But make sure you keep tightening it every couple of days. That'll be your best bet. It will get to a point where you can't tighten it anymore. Leave it and then jar it up in a mason jar as I've done, which I will show you in a minute. So that is basically how you make it. Actually, no, I'm not going to take it out because these are aging. And these I've had aging for a while. That, no, I will take it out to show you. Oh, that smells good. That is what they come out like. You know, age them as much as you can, because obviously the more you age them, normally the better they get. Absolutely fantastic these are. I haven't tried these yet. That has been aging for about a year and a half, and the tobacco that's in it is probably a few years old as it is. Now, what I'm going to be doing is anybody that would like to try one of my homemade plugs like that of my what I call my Franken tobacco. If you've got a, I'm just going to give them away. Give a few of them away anyway. Anyone that's got a pipe related YouTube channel, you know, put a comment below if you'd like me to send you some, or private message me or get hold of me via my Facebook Facebook page. Don't do my website now because unfortunately that's been shut down. I'll tell you about that in a later video. Or if you're a member of the UK pipe and tobacco community on Facebook, I'll leave a little comment and I'll send you some on that as well. So yeah, that was pretty much a crumble cake. If you want more of a plug / flake style, you try to use whole leaf because that is more of a solid blend. You can get don't even bother trying doing roll cakes at home because that is going to be a pain in the ass. But if you want to, you can actually buy blending tobaccos that's actually in twist form from Galworth and Hogarth, or let's say Samuel Galworth. You can actually, or is it Kendall as well, also do it. You can buy them in twist forms, which is basically just a big rope. Well, it's called a rope of tobacco. It's basically a whole leaf that's been twisted round like that. And you can unravel these and actually, put them flat and maybe turn them into a plug or a flake or whatever you like. So that'd probably be the best way of doing it. Or your homemade tobaccos, do it with that because it hasn't been broken up, hasn't been turned into ribbon or whatever first. So that is the best way of doing it. So thank you very, very, very much for watching, much appreciated. My name is Jason from Shisha in the UK, not .co.uk anymore, and the sampling room. Give us a thumbs up. I have got some more videos coming up soon, very, very soon actually. I will be trying to upload them and they'll be going live soon as well, so hopefully either this week or next week. There'll be a box opening and there will also be a shisha review from when I was in Oktoberfest in Germany. It's not the best video, but it's something for the shisha community as well. So thank you very much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, comment there, and don't forget to subscribe. Cheers then, bye.